gentlemen, welcome back to the Public Announcement Podcast. Today, as the title might suggest, we are going to be talking about social media and mainly the disadvantages or one phenomenon that has been quite on the rise in the present day. First of all, I would like to say that it would be very hypocritical of me to discourage you from using social media since I am a frequent user. As you know, the Public Announcement Podcast is pretty much on all popular social media, and I also, of course, have my private accounts where I chat with my friends, just casual accounts. I do not discourage you from using social media. However, I would say that you should limit it or at least beware of a phenomenon. I'm going to talk about that later. So don't take this as some kind of a critique or some kind of 30-year-old man saying that all social media is bad and remember the days when we used to go out and we chased each other with sticks and we actually talk to each other. No. I think it has many benefits as well as negatives. Social media on paper is a very cool idea. I mean, you pretty much can talk with anybody anywhere, which in itself sounds pretty cool. But this entire phenomenon started over with Facebook and now it's sort of switched to Instagram. The phenomenon I'm actually talking about is simply people just posting their shit and things they find in life obsessively. Let me make that clear. Obsessively with no other goal other than ego boosting themselves. Now, as I already mentioned, Facebook today is mainly for the old folks, so you will find just your traditional 40 to 50-year-old mom and dad chatting with friends and posting where they were for summer holidays and posting real embarrassing pictures of their children there. So it's not much a place for the younger generation. They have all sort of switched to Instagram now on. That's sort of the new trend. And Instagram in itself actually boosts this entire ego thing because Instagram is made for sharing things, right? You've got the stories, you've got like really simple and intuitive interface for sharing photos. Is not something hard, it's not something you have to think about too much. The messaging on Instagram, like there is some, but I don't think it's the prime focus of the app. Even when you click the fucking home button, you can like scroll through and it's very simple to see like whose photo is this, and you only got like the like there, the little heart, so pretty much you cannot dislike or like on Facebook, which sort of is more opinionated. On this one on Instagram you can just like things which you of course like, and if you don't like them you ignore them, which sort of comes in this very positive environment, makes this very positive environment, which is not bad. But what is bad is when people obsessively post everything they do throughout their day. And that's not even the worst part. The worst part is when people worry about this and try to match their lives with the lives of the person next door. For example, this phenomenon has been going on for a long time, but now it's so visible and so spread that I just feel the need of talking about it. Before, let's say the 80s, 70s, it was like between neighbors, right? Who had the better car, who was on a better holiday. It was this subtle flexing on each other that made the other person feel good about themselves. And often than not, the other person would buy a car or a house or go on a holiday that's much better than the neighbor. So when there would be a conversation brought up, he would like say, "Oh, you know what? I was in holiday in Hawaii last summer for 2 weeks, real awesome." And the other guy would say, "Yeah, I was on like what Maldives in like a 5-star resort." And the other guy will be like, "Damn, he got a better holiday than me. I guess I have to earn more money and try harder next year." However, with the use of Instagram, this is amplified to a fucking 120. The thing is that Instagram motivates these people to post stuff like this and to constantly flex on others. The point is these people are desperate. These people are just fucking desperate for attention. And this is not just girls posting almost like nudes on Instagram. I kind of see that trend. This is also boys which post like workout pics and the pics of their new car. If you are using Instagram for this, you're honestly a fucking desperate person. Instagram is such a great place for business. I don't think I can imagine a better social media for business than Instagram. And I get that not everybody has their own business going or like own podcast or music, whatever. But if you don't use Instagram for that, why use it at all? Like honestly. And some people will say, I want to keep up with my actors, I want to keep up with this, and I kind of can respect that if you are all into like the celebrity stuff and you have Instagram and you follow like Instagram accounts. If you have Instagram just for sake of having Instagram, not to be weird, I sort of respect that too. The thing is that so many people just spend hours and hours and hours scrolling through Instagram, and then they are so fucking miserable. Why? Because what you have to understand is the people who post in order to flex, they try real hard on every post. If you see a girl, right, even with boys, but let's start with girls because that's a more obvious example. If you see a fucking girl post a picture on Instagram where she looks like real top notch, like a 10 out of 10 dime, she's probably a 5 or a 4 in real life. Why? Because she figured out the fucking angles, how to shoot the photo. That's a very important thing. When you look at the same girl's Instagram, you can see she uses like 3 to 4 different angles because from that angle she looks the best. So angle is very important. She probably has shit ton of makeup that she put on for at least 2 hours. That's another factor affecting the final photo. She probably put some filters on. She put some edgy text, and some of them, and this is quite disgusting, some of them are even sort of exposing their bodies. I don't want this to sound like I'm a 50-year-old pedophile, but they sort of like it's almost a fucking nude. They like post in bikinis, but in a really sexual positions to gain the most likes. And why do people do this? Why do people post these posts? Well, that's another phenomenon, and that's very important to mention here so you understand my entire point. Before, when I was talking about the two neighbors and their holidays, each of the neighbor had this feeling of being better in a sort of way. A general term that I will use is validation. The neighbor that had the better holiday got some validation from the other neighbor because he said something along the line like, "Oh, that's nice. Oh, that's cool." Or just by him being quiet and having nothing to say, the second neighbor got validation because he's like, "Yeah, I got that guy. I was on a better holiday." That's the entire mentality. And on Instagram, it's with the heart things, right? With the likes. The more likes you get, the more you feel that you're successful, that you somehow managed to do. So when these girls, and the worst thing out of all is when these girls see those hungry ass comments saying like, "Oh my god, you're so beautiful." But not from the other girls, not from like friends, but from actually like boys who just are waiting for the fucking girl to respond to them. They just are waiting, like, they think they write like 4 heart emojis, and the girl is going to be like, "Oh my god, he's so cute, I'm gonna write him." What you are essentially doing is boosting that girl's ego, which is not good because she is going to become arrogant and she's going to think high of herself. I don't want to put down girls, I don't want to put down everybody. I'm more of a like, just everybody mind their own fucking business and leave me alone thing. But this is really what you're doing. And you might be living and you might be saying to yourself, "Well, I ain't doing this. I just want to say a compliment." Of course, you're doing this for validation. You expect the girl to respond to the comment, and then you jerk off to that because you dream about how the girl is one day gonna notice you among the fucking flood of comments with the heart emojis and is going to think that you're the correct one. This is not how you get girls, and it's actually kind of hard to get girls through social media. The easiest fucking thing to get girls is in real life. So stop commenting heart emojis. Stop even liking the photos. Like for Christ's sake, why are you liking them? Do you really like her exposed and nude? Are you a horny 15-year-old? And this is the entire point. And this is not with girls the same. This is with boys, but in a much lower spectrum. You see like these people like post their they're not even professional or anything. There are two types of accounts. They either post like workout photos, like they're constantly in the gym, and then you're just left there saying like, is their life anything else but gym? Do they like spend 15 hours at the gym daily just taking pictures at the treadmill? Or there are like the second ones that pretend they are like some high-end businessmen or whatever, so they like, they take pictures on like luxurious holidays and in suits in front of their Audi that they bought for 2,000 at a fucking retail car store or whatever those are called. And they will post like rooms from board meetings and be like, "Today I feel productive. Rise and grind, boys," and the 100 emoji and fire or whatever they do these days. Instagram is a cesspool of these people. I literally cannot find a reason to use Instagram otherwise than keeping up with the Kardashians or something, or than chatting to your friends. The thing is, and the worst thing about this is that the people who follow these, they're like, I would call, let's say the beta orbiters. I don't like the term, but let's use it because it describes perfectly. The beta orbiters, both girls and boys, who follow these like fake celebrities and people who just appear nice on Instagram, but in real life they're pretty shit. These people fall into a circle where they chase their tail constantly because they put their second life of the person on like this high pedestal. You know how Plato once talked about how there are like these realms? that in the world everything is imperfect, but it is perfect in some like alternative reality. That's what these people are essentially doing. They are putting this second life of someone else's on this high pedestal, and they're staring at it and worshiping it like, this is the ideal I want, this is what I want to reach, this is how I want to live. And as I already mentioned, these people live for Instagram. So there is literally nothing else going on in their life, just posting everything on Instagram. If you want to live a normal life, and if you are living a normal life, there is no possible way how you can manage your time so that you can still flex on Instagram. It's simply impossible. And this is mainly with girls to girls. There are like these enormous beauty standards that the girls think the girl in the photo is like all natural, and then the girls get like plastic surgeries and they are insecure about themselves, and that's just real shit, right? Because those are like really up beauty standards that you would have to be born a fucking supermodel to even measure to those. And I bet your ass that if those girls wash away their makeup, they are no better than you, and they even look worse than you. You have to understand that desperate people post shit for attention, and you, by following them, liking them, and by far commenting them in hope of them noticing you, are essentially putting your life somewhere into the trash can and putting their life on a pedestal, and finding this like it's like a shrine for you. You worship it all the time, but you can never reach it. And it makes you sad, it makes you insecure, and it makes you fucking miserable. And that's the entire point. That's why you should stop with following all these fake celebrities on Instagram. It's wasting your time and it's making you sad. There is literally no other benefit. There is nothing else to it. There's literally nothing else. You have to understand one thing, and this is quite an important lesson, so listen up. That's why I put it at the end. Other people, generally a community of people, is a luxury. Not everyone has friends. Not everyone has people close to them, and people survive. You have to learn how to enjoy yourself and be proud at yourself without others constantly approving you. You have to understand that you won't get validation all the time, and you can be sad because of that. You cannot be miserable because your best friend didn't tell you how cool your new idea was while you thought it's cool. If you think it's cool and you like it and you want to pursue it, fuck what everybody has to say. You've got 80 years, and I'm being generous here. You have 80, not even 80. You got like 60 productive years of your fucking life, and you're wasting it on like building this insane standards for yourself, being miserable all the time, and then listening to what others have to say about your life, and just being everybody's bitch by buying new clothes, by putting all these like status symbols like you mean something. You pretty much are spending money you don't have on things you cannot afford. And then you get into a circle where you're constantly chasing your tail, where you have to put a bigger and better stunt for the fake people to recognize you and to like give you a pat on the back. And is that what your life is supposed to be about? About a small group of people clapping you for you doing like extraordinary things? That's why you should learn that other people are a luxury not everybody has. And if you have good group of people or friends, keep them close. But if they are toxic, if there are attention seekers, if there are people who do not support you, if there are people who, as I already said, constantly post on social media, and you're wasting your time trying to impress them, and you're wasting your time on social media following these people trying to have the life they have, then you are better off without these people. And that's a fact. And with that, I end my podcast. Thank you for listening.